Hello and welcome to Tell Your Story Blueprint. I'm Anthea Fenton, the author and creator of the Tell Your Story Blueprint, and I'm going to be taking you through with the rest of some of our fabulous facilitators and co-creators of this process. So over to the next slide, please, Geraldine. Welcome to Tell Your Story Blueprint, which is part of the Read, Write, Publish series, the School for Facilitators of Change. This Tell Your Story Blueprint takes you through the hand-holding process of writing your story. This journal is a handheld gift back to humanity. Pause throughout and reflect your thoughts and feelings. Suffer in silent desperation is not your purpose. This is your chance to make a difference by raising your inner voice for you, your family and friends. You have the choice to break your silence. Will you take my hand? This is your opportunity to share and write your story and become a pioneer of the School for Facilitators of Change. And similar to what Gandhi said, become the change that you want to see in this world by going within. And as you can see there, that's my story. My name's Anthea Fenton, as I said before. This is the life after stress, anxiety and depression. That's sad, that was part of my story. But what I've done is turn this into an enterprise. So it's how I created a transitions enterprise even by hitting rock bottom. Over to you, Geraldine.
Thanks, Anthea. So the Tell Your Story Blueprint format is unique and enables each of us to claim our truth. We are here to empower storytelling as part of our human transformation and evolution. By each of us doing so enables us to hear and heal. Taking courage to tell stories enables the soul to transform into the truth of who we are. Let's go there. You have been chosen to go there to be a pioneer in laying foundations for the School for Facilitators of Change. You are welcome.
Tell Your Story Blueprint format. I will use this space to add clarity to how the blueprint works. Read is to read the story as a facilitator of this unique format. Write is to use the pause for thought section, which follows, to handwrite your story on one side of A4 paper, to then type up and email your facilitator of change, whose role is to hold space for you to share your story by listening. Each of us listening to each other, sharing our stories, is all we do. We are each responsible and have permission to remember the importance of self-care and love. Self-nurturing throughout this process is crucial.
Tell Your Story Blueprint format. Publish. After you have emailed your text section of your story, each session, it will be completed together. I'm going to start again, sorry. Tell Your Story Blueprint format. Publish. After you have emailed your text section of your story, each session, it will be compiled together, and as the image across demonstrates, your details will be entered between parentheses. Your storybook compiled and emailed back to you. Printing options will also be available with an extra cost. The image will also change between triangle or square. As we grow, there will be a slight changes, all to benefit the greater good and with the best of intentions. The next session is the structure of the book.
When you see this page opposite, it's your opportunity to reflect your thoughts. I encourage everybody to handwrite, because it's very much about connecting the hand to the paper. Is part of our upbringing, it's part of our basic skills that we had from being young. It's a really crucial part of our learning. So I encourage everybody to handwrite first in order for the flow of writing just to fall onto the page, so we're not coming just from our heads. And then you type that up and email it to the facilitator as you go along. So you're kind of like writing in different sections. So this section was introduced in terms of the writing section, because I'm not sure if you're like me, but my own thoughts and feelings are often triggered when I read other people's works. In light of that, these particular chapters being related to all of us, but then the book format was created. So don't concern yourself or be overcritical with how to do that, because that's coming from the ego mind. This is about tapping into the heart, and many people getting stuck into the head. You don't need to do that. No judgments to be made, no comparisons, just encouragement to shine your best you. Issues of grammar and spelling are a common concern for everybody, but they play no part here. I had special need to English when I was growing up in primary school, so you don't need to worry about that at all. So allow your thoughts to relax and reflect from your heart. It may be a word, it may be a phrase, or it just triggers a memory of your own experience relating to that particular heading, that section of the chapter. And as you can see there, when you see the pause for thought, you start writing here. That's your section. Start reflecting your thoughts on what you've just read. This is the part of the page that we ask for the A4. About 450, 500 words. Once you've typed it up, and you can do a word check on it. Again, it's just an opportunity for you to reflect relating to that section, and it's every time you see that blank page, then it's there for you to write your story. Type it up, handwritten piece, and email it to your facilitator. About 24 hours before the session will be a lot better, but if it's not, don't worry about it. Just email it over whenever you're able to. Over to Laura.
So, your story will replace my story. What commitment is required? 20 to 30 minutes to read and write your pause for thought relating to the section you have read. Handwrite on an A4 sheet of paper, writing pad, 24 sheets. Type up your pause for thought section and email to your fabulous facilitator. Reserve a seat on the next available class which suits you. You'll be notified of where to find the Zoom link before the appointment time to share your story with your soulmates.
This is the layout of the Tell Your Story blueprint. We've gone over the introduction and the various pages. And when you read through Anthea's story, there will be a page right there will ask you for a pause for thought to reflect and write your own story. And you start writing there. You're more than welcome to use the pages provided to write by hand and then type it up. And if you're more of a straight to the typewriter person, you can do that too. And then that's when you pick that's the page that you will email to your facilitator before the next section. And as we will be going through, here are the next 5 chapters. And in the meantime, doing versus being. Again, you'll read through it. You'll have your pause for thought. You go on, and then only you can tell your story. And we go through what you have to offer this community to claim your passion for serving humanity. Again, your pause for thought. Next chapter then will be the pursuit of happiness. Again, reading, reflecting, pause for thought, and then status. How are you adapting to the way that you earn? And once again, reading and reflecting and a pause for thought.
So 10 reasons for writing your life after, because I mean, you're probably thinking, I'd love to write a book, but where do I start? And many people have had kind of question, and what this process does is just make it a little bit lighter. So, and it connects us all together. So these are some of just 10 reasons. So read, write and publish. This is an opportunity to write your story and empower others to do the same. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to physically be taking people through that process. It just means just focus and concentrate for this time of you doing the storytelling process, and then decide after you've finished whether or not this is something that you're going to be talking to people about because of the effects that it's had on you. So it's all about you at this moment in time. So number 1 is that there's only you that can tell your story. Your uniqueness is important during these times of change, and to share is to show compassion for yourself and humanity.
Number 2, telling your story in this way empowers us to address the same things which affect all of us and to get onto the same page. Many of us have become entangled in a huge web weaved for us to keep us distracted. This process helps us break through the illusions.
Number 3, telling your story empowers you to express you more, not our parents, teachers, and influential others.
Number 4, telling your story helps to nurture you and treat you more gently.
Number 5, by telling our stories within the Life After Blueprint means we are walking our talk, hand-holding our fellow beings, paying our story forward to those who are yet to come, who will recognize us not for the qualifications we hold, but by the experience felt from our hearts and souls.
Number 6, telling our story connects us to each other, recognizing instantly we were never really alone. That was part of the illusion.
Number 7, telling our story this way helps us self-heal.
Number 8, it gives us permission to allow ourselves to grow in a different way, peacefully, with love.
Number 9, prepares the path of our own book. This is writing a book with a difference, independently and in collaboration.
And number
Number
10,
10,
Helps
helps
us
us
to
to
create
create
a
a
community
community
of
of
evolving
evolving
spiritual
spiritual
beings,
beings,
a network
network
for
for
us
us
to
to
be
be, gaining
gaining
respect
respect
and
and trust.
trust.
but all it takes is for one person to make a stand, to wake up from the busy trance, the trance that makes the world go round, seemingly so, yet invisibly bound by the hidden rope, limiting our viewing scope, damaging our sight from each other, mother, father, sister, brother. Tell it how it was, including the secrets. To free the mind is the only way to beat it. Break the silence and be free. Sharing has really been the key. Key to a life free from being excluded. Read on if you want to be included. Over to you, Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthea. After reading Anthea's poem, which begins, all it takes is for one person to make a stance, to wake up from the dizzy trance. To free the mind is the only way to beat it. Break the silence and be free. Sharing has really been the key. It's made me think about how much of our life is actually lived as if we are in a trance, almost sleepwalking through our lives, not really knowing which one is the dream and which one is the reality. Rising each morning to begin yet another day, but never fully waking up to what is really our life and participating with self-awareness and consciousness. There's always been this feeling that there's something more to life than everyone's telling us. I'm not talking about a secret society, but rather that there's more to the story than we're being told. I believe there's more meaning to our existence than we are led to believe. I guess what I mean is in the sense that there's more importance than we're told about our potential and the power that we have yet not discovered within. Despite growing up Catholic and knowing that I was expected to start a family of my own after getting an education, I knew it wasn't the path for me, or at least it wasn't what I wanted to do. Without it being said, I knew that I was not following protocol, and it was best to keep my plans to myself, not knowing exactly how I was going to break free from the imposed expectations when the time would come. I got to break the silence and be free when my mother died unexpectedly and suddenly the same night I spoke with her before flying out for Christmas. Up until then, I had been putting myself through college while working and trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. With her death, all understood expectations were instantly erased, and my slate was clean to write my own destiny. However, I also felt like I had become an orphan. My biological father was a deadbeat dad, and my stepfather revealed that he was not obligated any longer to be a dad to me or my brother with my mom's death. The families on all sides had been fractured with mom's passing, and I felt like I really didn't belong to any one of them anymore. It has taken 2 decades before I could even begin to see that I had to free my mind from this false belief of being separate and all alone in this journey called life. It really is no way to live. We are all wounded souls walking around acting from a place of separation. Sharing really is the key. And what we have here is an opportunity to do just that. Share our story so that we and others may learn and heal from it. And by doing so, we help others to tell their story and heal as well. Somehow, we have forgotten that we are all empowering angels, here to love, support, encourage, and heal each other so that we may remember who we are, what we came here to do, and that we are all one. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Cheryl, thank you.
So here goes, my story. It begins one significant morning in the month of November 1978. I was born in Manila, the bustling capital city of the Philippines. As a middle child with an older sister and a younger brother, I have happy childhood memories. Long jeep rides to and from school, monsoon seasons, spending time playing with other kids outside our 2-bedroom apartment. Life was never dull. I was a tomboy, unlike my well-groomed sister who stayed indoors playing with her Barbie dolls. I felt that it was somehow safer to be a boy than a girl in this world. I swore then never to wear makeup. As an adult, I can count on one hand how many times I have worn lipstick for a special occasion. My sister even had to convince me to do something nice with my hair on my wedding day. I resolved a lot of my disconnected issues with the divine feminine when I became a mother and healthily breastfed 3 hungry babies. These days, I honor my feminine side and do make an effort to look presentable. Also, being a seeker from a young age, the world presented such confusing messages. At secondary school, I bounced from one extracurricular activity to the next, gathering experiences, escaping boredom, and filling a void inside. I once had a question about the possibility of a parallel world, but no encyclopedia or book in the school library could provide me with a satisfactory answer. I slowly became disillusioned with the controlled veil and untruths of institutions and authority, that my quest for truth, once directed outward, eventually turned inward. I'm fascinated by conspiracy theories because they make more sense and point more to a truth than what is conveyed in the news. I find myself more fearful these days. As a parent responsible for the well-being of dependents, I've lost some of that carefree attitude and previous independence. I feel parenthood brings another layer of complexity into the mix, and I'm more involved with worldly concerns and survival than ever before. I am, however, blessed with a great love, which I am consistently reminded of on a daily basis. It is this great love that drives me to continue learning on a mental, spiritual, and human level. In sharing my story here, it is my hope that you will resonate and relate to aspects of my journey, that this in turn may inspire you to share and write your own story for others to learn from. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you. My story. My name is Catherine Jane Howard von Stein, née Ova, born in 1966 in Ndola, Zambia, immigrated to England in 1972, and now living in North Yorkshire. When I heard about this process, I had a very strong feeling that I needed to do it. I then spent several days worrying about how to start, procrastinating, scrolling through the Facebook and YouTube posts and videos, emailing asking for guidance as to how to do this, because I feel out of my depth, don't trust myself, worry that I'll get it wrong, and feel out of place, humiliated, rejected even. Where does this originate? I don't believe I was born this way. I've long felt out of touch with my emotions, that I have a steel plate across me just below my neck, and I can't open it and let everything out. Yet I recognize I need to. I do feel and deeply, but struggle to express it. So when I do, it tends to explode out of me. Something that just came to me is a recollection that my mother on her deathbed started telling me her life story and ran out of time. I don't want to be in that position. I know I need to learn to love and like myself in order to live a fulfilled and happy life in which I can give of myself healthily to the world. I have done courses and coaching at different times in my life, and each has helped and added to my self-knowledge and life experience, but somehow still not quite got to my core and helped me heal there, so that I can radiate, as I'm sure we are all meant to, as divine spiritual beings having a human experience. I feel blocked and hemmed in and want to be free to be me, to discover my destiny for this life and live it. I want to find out what I can offer this community and all the communities of which I am a member on a day-to-day basis. I'd like to discover and learn to love the authentic me so that I can love others fully for who they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. No, no more writing from my head. I'm ready to write from my heart and my soul, ready for the healing process to begin. Yes, it takes courage. I'm ready, grateful for being chosen. Thank you. Hola, and welcome to my story. My name is Mary Arevalo. I currently reside in California, USA, but it hasn't always been this way. I was born in Havana, Cuba, to a single mom who chose not to abort me, no matter the circumstances. Times were difficult for my mom when I was born. Luckily, there was Maria, the loving Black woman who took care of me while my mother worked all day, got home, spent a couple of hours with me, and left again for her second job. Could it be possible that my immense desire for love and affection throughout my entire life be so strong due to my childhood? Let me share a bit more. My mother married a very good-looking man when I was about 2 years old. He was kind, hardworking, and he adored my mother. I grew up believing that this man was my biological father. We even joked about how we had the same nose. Unfortunately for me, he believed that the belt was the best way to discipline a child, something he knew nothing about. As a young child, I could not understand how a person could be so nice and again so mean. And even harder to understand why was it that my mother would allow this man to hurt me. Is this when it all began? The resentment towards my mother, the anger, the disappointment, the pain? Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Welcome to my story. My name was Amanda Rose Gatting until 1992, when through studying shamanism, I experienced resonating with my soul name, Lahila Apaya. I changed my name by dipole, knowing that life would take on a very different meaning once living from my soul purpose. I was born in Hornchurch, Essex, UK, October the 19th, 1961, and brought into the world by a beautiful, large, cheerful Black midwife, so I hear. I'll always be so grateful to her. Beautiful pink overhanging cherry blossom trees adorned the avenue that led from our quiet abode. I was the third child to Robert and Margaret Gattin and had an older brother Michael and sister Misha. The age difference of 8 and 6 years meant that they were very close. And I remember growing up feeling I always wanted to fit in, but felt painfully different and isolated in my sensitivity and empathy. My father worked long hours in London for a Greek ship insurance company, and to relax would spend a lot of time out tending our lovely garden or playing the piano. Anything he could hear by ear, he could play. I have fond memories of being in the garden. It felt like a safe haven. I loved the wildlife and spent many hours trying to tame blackbirds and robins. My father always came across as a cheerful soul, yet I have no memories of deep, meaningful conversations, and was always surprised when letters would be left on the table first thing in the morning for us if he was angry or annoyed by something we had done. I see the strong Victorian upbringing he had is what I've fought against a lot of my life. My mother and her sister had been abandoned at a very young age by their mother, and the migraines and depression I could see clearly once older were the roots of her insecurities. Both in spirit now, I give heartfelt gratitude for all they gave as parents and send them much love. I left home at 16, ill-equipped to navigate my path into my late teens and early 20s. I feel on reflection, the loss of my fiance sent me spiraling for many years. I kept moving further and further up north, and in May 1989, I became a mother to Callum. I was living in Robin Hood's Bay at the time. Ethan followed in September 1990, and Tarum in 1995. My sons were my 100% focus. Now single, I moved inland so they could attend a local Steiner school, where 23 years on, I still live in the area today. All grown men now, I look back and I wonder, how on earth did I cope? Thank you.
Thank you, Lahila.
Thank you, Lahila. Welcome. My name is Merlin H. Oliver. I was born in Montserrat in the Caribbean. I'm the fifth of 9 children. As I had looked at my skinny self with small bones in comparison to the others before and after me, I wondered whether my mother had experienced a stressful and traumatic situation prior to or during the pregnancy. Since I was here, there were 3 critical occurrences I vividly remembered during my childhood. Due to the outcome, which weren't in my favor, I concluded I was too mischievous or over inquisitive. 1, placing a button in one of my nostrils that I couldn't retrieve. Result, my mother retrieved the button. Number 2, while playing with an elder brother, we used to run from the bedroom to the front door where a baby gate would prevent us falling outside. On one occasion, I leaned over too far and ended headfirst, cracking my skull on a flat stone by the door. Blood flowed. I remembered my mother carrying me to the clinic for operation. 3, finally, the most traumatic of all, my father and mother leaving to emigrate to the UK. In my little senses, and disaster was imminent, so I took evasive action. Just before they left the premises, I grabbed hold of her dress and wouldn't let go. I was weeping bitterly, saying through the sobbing, "Mommy, no go." Eventually, with much effort, my little fingers were unlocked from her dress and she departed. At that moment, my life as I knew it ended. From that moment, I was now in a weird, wild world on my own, bewildered and uncertain. My mother's parents were our first custodians. I didn't like my grandfather. He made my life a misery. He was always telling me I would not amount to much and wouldn't grow and would be like a little man named Captain Washi, some old sea captain. I believed my granddad, and believe it or not, I stopped growing. Looking back, I was rather outspoken against injustice. I wouldn't take sides in dispute. I would tell my granddad if my mom was around, he wouldn't do to me the things he did. I always longed for my mom and always looked for her around. As time emerged, I learned well at school and believed anything was possible. I always had big dreams and achieved much in life listening to the inner voice. There is an inner voice, spirit, beyond the ego, who have a blueprint of each of our destiny. From that rest, we could truly help each other without judgment, without partiality, but with love. Thank you.
Thank you, Merlin. So, hello and welcome. My name is Anthea Rosemary Fenton. Born in Lancashire, United Kingdom, one of 8 children, I grew up knowing adversity. As my story unfolds, I hope you are able to find comfort from knowing my formative years were not the place to stunt growth, depending on the meaning that I chose to place upon it. My story has given me tremendous opportunities to contribute to the lives of many others because I chose to make it that way. Whilst we are taught to work hard and compete and focus on external matter, internally our spirit is at risk. A major part of this book is about reclaiming self through transformation. Working in caring for others from the age of 3, I observed the lack of self-care and adopted such bad practice. My journey begins with me recognizing my need for change and the importance of finding a place to be with others. During adverse times, I discovered the power of dreams and visions and the importance of following my heart. In the meantime of such internal discoveries, essential externals continue. My need for money, food, clothing, shelter, and basic survival instincts. By trusting my heart and having faith, it's enabled me to master change. As you read my story, all I ask is for respect. Respect for my journey and the lessons that I have learned that have enabled me to take responsibility for my life. I've developed a micro-macro view of my journey as a visionary humanitarian, wondering in order to create equality and justice for all people, we have to empower each other. Empowering with transferable skills and tools which will sustain communities for generations to come. Money, health, and personal development are three key elements which affect all of us and are central to this life. Knowing that I can empower people through sharing this program, by taking the steps of sharing my story and how Energy Orchard discovered me, touches my soul. Pause for thought, reflect, and write your story.